Over 80,000 people wanted to get a new game, but for over 20 years now, Capcom has refused to do so. Today we're talking about the Dino Crisis series, one of those weird old Capcom franchises that never had any consistency, but what it did have was genuinely good each time. Mostly. And has left fans wanting more for decades. It had all from survival horror to even a light gun game, and whatever the fuck this is, but don't worry, we'll get to that. So let's go back through each game and see just what it was, and talk about the story of the Dino Crisis franchise, both in-game and how it got here. Starting at the beginning, the first game was directed and produced by Shinji Mikami, the man behind Resident Evil 1 and 4, and more recently the Evil Within series. This man is survival horror. I mean, just look at him! Mikami and his team wanted to move away from the supernatural zombies and try out a game featuring dinosaurs because Mikami just likes dinosaurs. Are you gonna tell me he's wrong? Capcom called Dino Crisis a panic horror game instead of survival horror, and they decided to use 3D environments instead of the pre-rendered backgrounds like Resident Evil did to allow for a more dynamic camera, and it closely follows the style of play of Resident Evil 1. But what does that mean anyway, panic horror? I mean, I guess if I turned a corner and a raptor was standing there, I'd probably shit my pants a lot more than if I ran into a zombie that could barely move, so I guess that. I should also mention the footage you're seeing of Dino Crisis 1 and 2 in this video is all using the Dino Crisis Rebirth mods, which revamp the PC version's graphics and video and sound quality, so be sure to check them out if you're interested. There's a link to their website in the description below. Here's a quick look at the quality difference. They did a great job.
You have mail.
Yeah, it's a bit of a relic of its time. But what kind of email looks like this and then reads out to you anyway? This opening sets up the plot. A researcher named Dr. Kirk is at this secret facility our friend Tom has infiltrated, even though Kirk is supposed to be dead from an accident, and was working on some new form of clean energy. It's never stated what government we work for, but of course they can't let this stand. Repatriate him immediately! They need that energy for war! Let's meet our cast. Well, besides that guy. Sorry, Cooper. They really did the leader Gale dirty here. In the cutscene, he's a gruff soldier, and his model just looks like an old man. We also have Rick, our tech guy, and our main character and badass spy, or whatever we are, Regina.
Let me guess. This is some of your handiwork, right?
She's a little bit of Leon, a little bit of Samus, and a whole lot of tank controls. Just don't question the diaper. That thing is thangin'. We aren't exactly supposed to be here, and the power is out, so the first task is to restore the power with the easiest puzzle known to man. Can you guess which order the batteries are supposed to go in? No? Well, you must be colorblind then, and if you are, too bad, you can't play this game. On the way out, we hear Gale get into it with something, so we go to check on him, and... Raptor! Hell yeah! I do love Resident Evil, but tell me fighting zombies is cooler than dinosaurs. If you do, you're wrong. Nintendo is better than Sega, and Pokemon is better than Digimon. These are all indisputable facts of the playground, and I will hear no opposition. Gale is now gone though, so let's report into Rick. The voice acting in this game is surprisingly good for the time too. I always loved this line read by Rick's voice actor.
You're not gonna believe this. He was attacked by some kind of dinosaur.
Now that's a good one. So, who was it? Barney?
It's all relatively unknown people like Capcom loved to do back then, but they did a better job than literally picking random white people off of the street like they did for Resident Evil. Regina's voice actor is Stephanie Morgenstern, who some might remember as Sailor Venus in the original Sailor Moon anime, and Rick sounds pretty familiar, but I can't quite place it. Anybody remember the Donkey Kong Country cartoon? Rick is voiced by Richard Yearwood, who played Donkey Kong in that show, and Gale's voice actor Adrian Truss was also in it as General Clump.
Well, Clump, how are you? Filled with joy and rapture at the very sight of your loneliness, Holly.
What a legacy. Apparently Cooper had the radio and there was only one for some reason, so there isn't going to be any calling for backup, and we're all business. No one cares about Gale. We just got to go find Dr. Kirk. This game truly is nearly a copy and paste of Resident Evil. We have save rooms instead of typewriters and don't need ink ribbons, but most of the game is running around and solving puzzles that are honestly very easy once you know where to go, and the difference between knowing what to do and not can be several hours of game time. I've played this game enough times that I stormed through it in just over 4 hours, but the first time I played it, it probably took that long to get into the second half of the game. Also, as much as I love it, shooting at raptors while you just stand there because you have almost no movement options and tank controls is completely ridiculous.
Oh god, it's coming for me. I'm moving as fast as I can. I gotta back up.
So most of the time you're going to choose not to fight at all and just run past the raptors.
Don't you say it left. Come on!
Oh god, they can do that? Everyone ran past the zombies in Resident Evil as well, and it's a hell of a lot scarier if they can chase after you. This one is completely set up to happen though, and most of the time they'll never follow you, so it's more of an unrealized idea than anything else. There's also a bleeding system where you need special healing items called hemostats to stop the bleeding, but they don't heal you, so you also need medkits for that. The game has a complex health item crafting system that you can use to make things like sleep darts to shoot at dinos and health kits that both heal and stop the bleeding, but it's so complicated that I've never really understood it. But if you just make the bar go up enough and combine aids with everything, you're good. Which Child Me had no idea stood for anesthetic aid, which made it even more confusing. Now that we've found both the input and code DDK discs, we can start the puzzle to enter the Chief's room. They really thought they were cooking with this. It's like needing 2 keys for a door, but also you need to be able to pass first grade. Eliminate the letters in the key and type in what remains to pass through, and all of that information is just provided right on the screen for you as long as you know how it works. Not only that, but they are like children, and the codes are always directly related to where you're going, like head for the Chief's room and waterway for the docks. Such security!
A survivor.
Thanks for the key, random dying man. I will now use it with the other one I conveniently already have to solve this oh god! The T-Rex is here just like you'd expect, and it is absolutely hilarious in this game, but we'll hold on to that for now. We won't be seeing him again for a bit.
Don't you say it left. Come on!
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Raptor. I had no idea it was your key. I'll return it right away. Oh god! Gale? How did he survive falling through that hole and get back in here? And why didn't he bother to tell anyone where he was?
Good timing.
What is it? Another lizard?
That's no lizard. It's a dinosaur.
Dinosaur?
How do you not know that's a dinosaur, you fucking meathead? He doesn't even care. But apparently his radio broke, so at least that explains that issue. There are a couple sections where danger appears on the screen, and you get attacked like that, and you just have to mash buttons to escape. It reminds me of old QTEs with how ridiculous they can be, and I feel like this game was kind of ahead of its time in some ways. Looks like the good doctor is nowhere to be found, so we have to check out the underground area now, starting with restoring the power.
That'll be your job, Regina. Restore the power to the underground area.
Gale, what isn't her job? No one else does anything in this house! Anyway, did you like that battery puzzle? Because we're gonna repeat it again real quick, just to make sure you understood it the first time. Rick asks us to come back and talk to them afterwards, and they've seen someone on the monitors that might be the doctor, and at the same time get a distress signal from a team member. This gives us our first choice of the game. Who do you want to follow, Gale or Rick? This doesn't actually matter, it just changes what you'll need to do for a small section of the game. I chose to follow Rick to look for the team member, which means I'll be heading back outside. I do like the replayability this affords, and it's similar to how picking Jill or Chris affects what you do in Resident Evil, and makes a short game feel a bit bigger. I hate pterodactyls! Why would they do this? They have no reason to attack Regina, and they can actually make you drop your weapon and chase you around as you run and try to pick it back up. They are so annoying. Oh hey shit, it's Tom. Anyone remember him from AOL at the beginning? He ain't doing so good, so we're gonna take him to the medical room, which we just magically know the location of. was his plan there? Why did he fly directly into that fan after letting me go? That was a kamikaze pterodactyl. My hatred is fully justified.
This is just like that movie.
Gee, I wonder which one. Well, so much for Tom, but why can I not just pick up his machine gun? Oh well, but with that, our little side story with Rick is over, and we need to get into the elevators, which is the most convoluted puzzle in this entire game, and can easily get you stuck for hours. There are 2 bodies of researchers that have registration numbers associated with them, and you need to rewrite the ID card you now have with their information. You also get a fingerprint scanner, and you have to use it on the body, so you have to remember where they were, and then run back to the office where the computer that can rewrite the ID cards is to do so. Don't have a matching fingerprint number? Then you can't do it. This is one of the earliest things in a game I ever remember looking up how to do, and I can imagine it could have taken me several hours to figure out if I was playing this blind today. There aren't even any tips for this either. You just have an ID card now, so the natural thing to do is figure out what you can do with it. If you don't like writing stuff down and solving puzzles like this game definitely isn't for you, but there is nothing like this exact puzzle anywhere else in the game. Everything else is more straightforward. Oh boy, we've moved on to numbers instead of letters, but it's just A equals 1, B equals 2, and so on. These are supposed to be the smartest researchers in the world working here. Incredible security. They'd never be able to get around it. Who put this guy in the gas chamber? Why do they have a gas chamber? Good thing we have this handy-dandy poison level to help guide us. I 100% looked up what to do here because I was lazy, but you can still advance even if he dies. You get the key to Kirk's lab from him either way, and then we get the chance to use the chamber ourselves. I hit him with the red for Raptor. Well, I don't know what that was, but the music tells me something weird is going on here. Shockingly, Kirk wasn't in his lab, and now he's trying to lock us down. He's been running around this facility like the kid in Home Alone trying to keep us away from him, which is somewhat understandable considering he faked his death and we're random government people that he doesn't know. This leads to our second choice, and Gale is kind of a dick, but this time I'm gonna have to go with him. Rick wants us to try and hack the escape hatch on a time limit, and I'd much rather take the guns blazing route, except I'm just gonna run past everything instead of shooting it. Looks like this was the right decision too, because Gale has found Kirk.
I am glad I kept you entertained, tough guy.
Shut up.
Alright, you know what, maybe I'm starting to warm up to Gale.
You can't do this. I have rights. Then shoot me, you idiot. You lame, flat-top, jar-headed.
Hell yeah, Gale, get shit done! He apparently also has his own little mission to take care of, so of course the heavy lifting is on Regina's back once again. We have to go restore communications now to get away from here, and he's back. Why the hell a T-Rex would be so hell-bent on eating a single person is beyond me, but once again, we're just gonna leave. It's always a good sign when you get to a cutscene though, and old Rexy is back once again.
What is that?
Yeah, fuck that helicopter! It has no reason to do that at all, once again, but it is the cartoon villain of this game, and that helicopter had to go. Kirk got away because of this confusion, and the door is locked, so now how are we gonna fight a T-Rex? The same way we have been! We're playing Ring Around the Wreckage while we wait for Rick to get the door open. What an exhilarating boss fight. Regina finds a note talking about the underground dock, so we can use that as our escape now that the helicopter is wrecked. So the new plan is to secure the route and find Kirk again. And with that taking us to a new area of the facility, you know what that means. Let's do the battery puzzle again! Surely the third time it will be more interesting. Holy shit, a new dinosaur! It only took a few hours of gameplay, but we got there. And it tried to kill us with a crane. How smart are these things? Here's today's dinosaur fact. Those are called Therazinos, and they are classified as giant marine turtles. They're also classified as huge dickheads that get in your way every chance they get. There are also blue raptors now. They're stronger, because they're blue.
I wanna take you for a ride.
We found the port, but we need a key. Luckily, there were some researchers trying to escape, and they're going to bring the key right to us. It rode the elevator? Take that, you big scaly psycho! The lengths this thing will go to for some human meat know no bounds. Now, who wants to do the battery puzzle a 4th time? I can't believe that I am not joking. Walking back past the T-Rex then is scary because you know that thing isn't dead. The port is unlocked now, but we still can't get through because of this. The experiment Kirk was working on has us trapped, so now we have to find a way around it. We still needed to find him anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter. Oh my god, the password to his lab is his name. I hate this guy. We've caught up to him, and he holds Regina at gunpoint, but my hero Gale is here to save the day once again. Kirk tells us that the way the third energy works, his experiment that was being used to create clean energy, swaps time and space in an area with another, which is how the dinosaurs showed up on the island. They were pulled in from their time. He also says that we can overload the reaction to stop it and clear the blockages at the docks, but if we don't get out afterwards, we could be vaporized in the explosion. I wonder why the government wants this tech. One more choice now between Rick and Gale. This one makes way more sense to go with Gale again. Rick wants us to build the 2 parts we need, which there's no way Regina should be able to do, but Gale just wants us to blast our way over to where they're stored and take them. Much easier, especially when, once again, I am not actually going to shoot anything. To run the device, we already know from a memo that we're going to need an ID card registered under Kirk, so we also grab his fingerprint before heading off. Or his toe print. I guess that works too, Regina. Okay, the parts are acquired and set. Let's set up our explosion and get the hell out of here.
Huh? The ceiling! Move it!
Oh man, poor Gale. He is so good at his job, though. Regina pulls him out of there, but he's pretty messed up. And it's time for the final choice of the game, and this one actually determines your ending. Gale is going after Kirk because he is a professional to the end, but Rick wants to escape. The 2 plans are obvious ending choices, but there's actually a secret third option which we're going to go for. Putting priority on Kirk will result in Gale dying to complete his mission, and making him escape with us will cause us to leave Kirk, but you can do both from either choice. I chose Gale's idea, and I agree, Regina, I am finally starting to understand him.
I'm finally beginning to understand him. He's a professional, first and foremost. It's the only way he operates.
If you go off the beaten path a bit, you can find this weird transport thing that leads to a hidden helicopter, and that's going to be our new escape plan. So now we can use Gale's tracker to find Kirk. The exact location he's in changes depending on some choices you made, but he can only be in a few spots. Hey, where's the T-Rex? Great. Gale has Kirk cornered again, and thanks Kirk for a disc, which we get no explanation for. If you do Gale's ending, you'll learn that he was sent by the government to retrieve information on the third energy experiment, which is what he got from Kirk, and the business he had to deal with earlier. The world's most bloodthirsty T-Rex destroyed the boat we were going to use to escape during all this. Who the hell knows how it knew to do that? And so the helicopter is the only option now, and we just need to pick up Rick and get out. Of course, the T-Rex is chasing him already, and doors are nothing to the power of pure bloodlust. This is the final confrontation with this guy, yet it still works pretty much the same as the others. Shoot him when his mouth opens until you get to the exit. We're never going to get to actually fight him. But we already know helicopters are his worst enemy. How could we forget? Well, this one has a bomb. Eat bomb, you psycho T-Rex. In the other endings, by the way, he swims after you and attacks the boat, either by chasing you down or swimming underneath the boat like fucking Jaws. This is the most cartoon shit I've seen in a while, and it's played completely seriously. Dino Crisis 1 is rightfully criticized for mostly being a Resident Evil clone with dinosaurs instead of zombies, but I think it's fair to say it has enough unique things going for it that it can exist as its own franchise. The same guy that made Resident Evil made this game, so of course there are going to be a lot of similar ideas, but mixing health items, simpler puzzles, and a much bigger inventory make the game feel different enough in my opinion. Not to mention, dinosaurs are much cooler than zombies, don't forget. There actually only ends up being 5 or 6 different dinosaurs in the game, which is much less than what they wanted to do, but that was done to deal with time and development constraints. They tried to make dinosaur AI and movements that were believable, and especially for the PS1 era, I think they did a really good job, but it limited how much they could actually add. The game was a huge success, and because of that a sequel entered development at Capcom, but Resident Evil 3 was also in development and needed some help, so Mikami was moved to that project, and Capcom had Shu Takumi take over the development of the sequel. His name isn't as famous, but you might know him as the director of the Phoenix Wright series. Yeah, you know what, Capcom? That sounds like the perfect guy to lead the dinosaur horror game. Oh wait, did I say horror game? My mistake, I must have forgotten. I said this series was incredibly inconsistent, and I meant it! Dino Crisis 2 came out 1 year after the first in 2000, and it's not a survival horror game or panic horror game. No, the team wanted to do something completely different, because, I mean, who cares what fans of the first game think? And so, Dino Crisis 2 is an arcade shooter, with, like, points. Despite what I just said might make you think, somehow Dino Crisis 2 is also a great game. Yeah, the government getting their hands on that probably isn't the best thing that could have happened. Oops. This time, instead of just bringing the dinos here, an entire base got swapped with a jungle. Regina is sent in with the members of TRAT, the Tactical Reconnaissance and Acquisition Team, to go to the island, which takes them into the past and rescue the survivors. This is slightly more noble than just looking for the doctor so that the government can make its bombs. Also, Regina has been yassified, and holy shit, that's a lot of raptors. This is just setting the tone for what this game is going to bring to the table, and you know there's another T-Rex to deal with. The guy Regina is with is the leader of TRAT, Dylan, who has the world's worst haircut.
Maybe if you got rid of that old yee-yee ass haircut you got, you get some bitches on your dick.
Wait, what do you mean I have to play as Dylan? I do not want to be Dylan. I want to be Regina. This is some MGS2 level bait and switch, but fighting 3 raptors right off the bat is also insane. Wait, 100 shots? Points? Combos? I told you this was an arcade shooter. You're going to be blasting a comical amount of dinos in this game, and the combos and points rack up in each area to be used later. You also notice that we're back on Resident Evil style pre-rendered backgrounds, and that's because they wanted to set the game in the jungle, and it just wasn't feasible at the time in 3D. In fact, they'd wanted to do that with the first game as well, complete with the jungle, but they went with 3D because of the camera angles they wanted to do and cut that entirely, which aren't really present here. We still have tank controls and the fixed camera though. Going through this small patch of jungle, I've almost definitely killed more raptors than I did in the entirety of the first game, but less than LeBron. I've also spent around 70 shells and have not reloaded a single time because we don't have time for that in Dino Crisis. You don't reload in the first game either. The points are used in the shop to buy new weapons, ammo, upgrades, and tools for your character. They're also the save stations. This is completely ridiculous, and I feel like you get the first shop so early to scream at you that this game is different. Laying on the ground is also the first collectible dino fact, now provided by the game, complete with bad grammar and a name for the blue raptors from before, Ultra Raptors. No guys, they aren't Ultra, they're just blue. Don't they know that makes them stronger? Another brief encounter with the T-Rex and a Bond roll later, and we meet the masked strangers. They shoot exploding frisbees and seem to be protecting the T-Rex. There's also a note inside the nearby building saying that the survivors have been alone for over 10 years, despite us being dispatched very quickly after the disappearance of the city. Thankfully for me, Dylan gets trapped almost instantly and calls Regina for help, who is just chilling on the boat doing nothing. You know what, after carrying the entire team on her back last time, she deserves this. But it's time to go rescue Dylan, which means playing as Regina, who has dealt with this exact problem before, and yet has decided to bring only a pistol as a weapon. She's a real tactician. Oh hey, look at that. Green raptors. They're stronger, because they're green. Regina dodges some exploding frisbees of her own, and then rescues this girl, taking her prisoner. Okay, I lied. She didn't just have a pistol, she also had handcuffs. and that same diaper outfit from before. I don't think I really want to know what she's about. You have to buy a flamethrower to get past some evil plants for some reason to get to Dylan, because we can't just go the same way he went, that would be too easy. This is about as complex as the puzzles get in this game. Not only are there no more ID cards to overwrite, nearly everything can be solved by just pointing and shooting. Oh yeah, she also has a stun gun. That probably goes with the handcuffs. Dude, fuck pterodactyls. I still hate these dirty, winged rats. There are way more dinosaurs in this game than the previous though, which was a goal of the development team. Hell yeah, dual machine guns, and she can point them at multiple enemies at once. I don't know how they managed to change literally everything about a game I loved and still win me over, but this definitely helps. Regina saves Dylan and brings the girl to the ship, and it seems the ship has been destroyed by the Helmet Army, so we're stuck here again. Dylan then goes to handcuff the girl in the boat, who has a weird reaction to him. She wants a piece of them frosted tips. Just like Regina can use her stun gun to open some doors, Dylan can use his machete to destroy vines on them. This somewhat limits where each of them can go, but it's barely used beyond this first area. Shortly after that, another new dinosaur, the Oviraptors, have joined the list of things to endlessly slaughter, and I also got the dumbest weapon of all time for Dylan, this thing that shoots a ball of lightning directly in front of him and doesn't do anything else.
Hey! That's mine!
According to this game, compies are little dinosaur ferrets. They can also phase through walls, apparently. You have to corral this little thief into a cage, which he conveniently doesn't bring the card into to move on, and once again I want to say that this is what Dino Crisis 2 considers a puzzle. There are remnants of the previous game, but by some miracle the damn battery puzzle didn't make it. Miraculously, there's a perfect battery for the ship hidden away in the one place we can reach with the ID card, so we take that back to the ship, and the girl is missing. Regina, what the hell were you doing on the ship? Maybe Gale ordered her around all the time for a reason. We're done in the first area, and we need to move on with the ship. And do you know what that means? On-rails shooter versus evil swimming dinos and pterodactyls. Yeah, fuck you, you flying rat. This is almost definitely the make or break point for people who played the first game. It's already clearly been very different, but this is arcade as it gets.
Sharp shooter, aren't you? Hang around the arcades much?
By the way, the points are called extinction points, and about an hour and a half into playing this game, I used 20,000 of them to turn off the bleeding mechanic completely, which did make it over from the first. It's just gone now for the rest of the game. Luckily, the swimmy guys here are worth an insane amount of points too, so I was also able to get the heavy machine gun, which makes this area a complete joke. Maybe a harder difficulty would have been better, but on normal, you can cruise through this game without any issue. Yes, how does it feel? I will never get tired of that. The key to the city we want to go to has somehow been lost underwater, so let's go get Regina wet. Anyway, we're going underwater. That requires a minigame of zapping random buttons because the same people that designed the DDKs did the security here. You move incredibly slow underwater and have a completely unique set of weapons to fight these crocodile things, but hey, at least we can finally jump, although maybe that wasn't such a good thing because that means there's going to be some light platforming in this tank control game. Wait a minute, I think I recognize those things. That's the magical Leopleurodon!
It's a Leopleurodon, Charlie. Magical Leopleurodon.
That video is 17 years old.
It's the magical Leopleurodon, Charlie!
Eventually you wind up here in what is the closest thing to a boss battle Dino Crisis has ever had. You can actually shoot this thing and kill it! That feels like a miracle coming from the T-Rex merry-go-round. Once we come out, we get a transmission from our team member David, who tells us to head to the city, once again controlling Dylan. He gets a mine gun to destroy rocks and knock over these big-ass lizards so he can shoot their bellies, but it's also a sub-weapon, which doesn't come with much ammo, and after fighting through 1,000,000 of those guys, I didn't have enough mines left to break the last rock to move on, so I had to walk all the way back out to go buy ammo and then come back. I like how the weapons interact with the environment, considering shooting is basically all you do in this game, but when these kinds of things happen, it's really annoying. Speaking of things other than shooting, it's time for our next minigame. This time, you have to mark an area for your partner to shoot and swap back and forth between Regina and Dylan to get past all of the allosaurs. Yes, rain fire on my enemies.
I'm not gonna need this anymore.
Okay, and I guess we're never doing that again. But we are not done with minigames. Anyone ever play that Jurassic Park arcade game? I don't think a Triceratops would ever do this, but at least we had some cool driving.
Yeah, that was some cool driving.
Or not.
These people were the only ones left. There aren't any survivors now.
Well, we're too late, I guess. Everyone's dead. Mission failed. We still got that data to get, though, so we can't go home just yet. Going from Regina to Dylan really sucks because besides the fact that I don't want to play him, I don't like his weapons either. But don't worry, we don't need weapons. We have a tank! Why is it so loud? And why are T-Rexes so against machinery in these games? It's the same one that's been chasing us all game, by the way. If the last one didn't get exploded, I would fully believe it was the T-Rex from the first game. Afterwards, the flying disc Tron people attack Dylan again, and the girl from before comes back and saves him, and she had his sister's necklace. Interesting. Blah blah, tragic backstory, he was in a gang, nobody cares about you, Dylan. Back to Regina. And I bought an armor upgrade that actually changes your appearance, which is pretty cool. I didn't expect that. We're now in the end game already, and there's a file on a new dinosaur, the Gigantosaurus. There is no way that's real. Oh my god, it is. And it beat the absolute shit out of that T-Rex. We've got the data disk we needed, so we need to get out of here, but there's a missile launching on the base now, and we have to stop it. Why the hell do they even have this? Who knows, but our new gigantic friend is hell-bent on stopping us because it absorbed the T-Rex's hatred of humans when it ate him. A little bit of fire stops it with the most overboard timer of all time on the screen, and then we have to play the button minigame again to fix a bridge. Disaster averted. It was seriously that easy? Not quite. Giganto is awake now, and she is pissed. We make our escape, and David has to open a waterway while Dylan snipes a stupid amount of raptors, and then immediately dies. I can't believe he made it that far, though, honestly. Dylan falls in front of the blonde girl, who directs him somewhere she calls home. He escorts her through the lab, where we find a document which explains that the children of the people living here were placed in pods to keep them alive, but those pods were made to grow dinosaurs and teach them dinosaur instincts, which is why the people with the helmets can't speak and try to protect the dinosaurs. Yeah, sure, we're just going to pretend that that sounds like science. There's another memo that explains that the events of the first game caused a change in time where humans did not exist, and in order to fix this, they decided to take the dinosaurs and transport them 3 million years into the future until the issue is solved, at which point they would transport them back, because whoever's 3 million years from now, fuck you, we don't care. Obviously that did not happen though, so now we're stuck dealing with it. The girl then starts a message where an old man says this was successful in 2055, but they were stranded in that time, so they saved their children and moved on, including the man's child Paula, who is the girl we've been interacting with. He asks Dylan to take the children back to his time, and then introduces himself as Dylan, making Paula his daughter. I kind of regret what I said about those frosted tips earlier. There's a gate he can use to return to his time and save himself from the fate of his hologram self, so they run off to do so, but one of the survivors' kids turned on the self-destruct that every self-respecting base needs, and while that's going on, our dino girlfriend has returned. Lucky for us, even after 3 million years or whatever time thing is going on, everything in here still works, and what does this do holy shit. Okay, well, I think we got her. It's time to get the hell out of here. We meet back up with Regina and Paula, and as we're getting ready, a machine falls on Paula and she can't get out. Dylan waits with her and tells Regina to just go back by herself and use the machine to return before this happens and rescue them, and then credits. We've ended on a cliffhanger. To help with replayability, there's an arena mode where you can play as the characters from this game and the previous, like my goat Gale, and even a dinosaur fighting game for some reason, and you can use your built-up extinction points to unlock them all. The game is very short with no branching paths like last time, so I understand why they added this. I personally prefer the first game, but I really do enjoy Dino Crisis 2 as well. It tried to make itself different from Resident Evil and build its own identity. In between this and the third game, they made the light gun game called Dino Stalker, which was part of Capcom's Gun Survivor series that was mostly for Resident Evil. In that game, you play as a World War II pilot who gets transported to the time of Dino Crisis 2, and you meet up with Dylan and Paula while you fight your way back to your time. I don't have a light gun and it doesn't work well with a controller, so the trailer will have to do. This doesn't advance the plot from the cliffhanger, but did buy them time to work on the eventual Dino Crisis 3. The third game came out in 2003 and faced a little bit of trouble during development. They were planning on having a city theme where dinosaurs had gone rampant and destroyed everything, but this was in development in 2001, and there were two very big reasons in New York City that made them change their mind about that theme and cook up something else. The game was planned for the PS2 and Xbox at this time and came out for the Xbox first, so let's see where they ended up going from that cliffhanger in 2. Surely these are related, right? Okay, fuck this. For some reason, when they changed plans, Capcom decided the best idea was to say, forget the previous game once again, and this time, instead of continuing the story, we're now in space with some random people and gross zombie-like dinosaurs. I have never played enough of this game to find out what's going on with that, and the PS2 version was never released. Unlike the other games, there are no ports either, so the only way you can play this is on the Xbox, which no one has, and Capcom and fans of the series can all agree it's better that way, because at least then no one will ever play it. It's not even backwards compatible on a modern Xbox. It will stay dead forever, and it deserves it. It did have some cool ideas, with the ship being able to change shape, which changes how you access certain areas and creates one big puzzle out of the map, but I will never care enough to see it through. Since the release of Dino Crisis 3, there has been almost nothing. The first game was recently ported to PS Plus for PS4 and PS5, so it's easy to access, but the second game has not, and I would honestly be shocked if they did. There have been reports multiple times over the years that Capcom was working on something new for Dino Crisis, but it's just never happened for whatever reason. Hell, Regina was never even featured in a Marvel vs. Capcom game. There was the crossover mode in Dead Rising 3's Super Ultra Dead Rising 3 Arcade Remix Hyper Edition EX Plus Alpha, which featured her as a skin, but that's as much as we've gotten. When Capcom revealed Exoprimal at a State of Play in 2022, fans like myself got baited extremely hard into thinking they were actually doing something with this franchise, only for it to be a multiplayer-only title that did okay, but really isn't anything special. Capcom, please, I am begging you. You saw your survey results. The people want more Dino Crisis. And I don't want to see Dylan in anything either. I want to play as Regina. At this point, I would even take a remake of the first game in the style of the Resident Evil 2 remake. Just do anything with the franchise. I guarantee you people will buy it. Until they dust this one off, I'll continue to hold out hope that one day we'll get something. But there is a spiritual successor being made by a small studio called Code Violet coming out soon that I am very much looking forward to, but based on the developer's past work, I'm not too confident in giving this a recommendation just yet. I'll have to wait until I play it. If you watched this far, thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. And please consider subscribing or liking the video if you want to help me grow. I'll see you in the next one.